Welcome to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Every week, you can have the conversations you've always wanted to have about the films you love.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Kinda
Get rid of your distractions and prepare yourself.
Fold and lock your door. 5, 6, got crucifix.
You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
Yo, yo, yo.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Oh, welcome everyone to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Danny Bonin here.
Scotty Bonin back with you. It's not Christmas, sorry. Get your hopes up
it's
here.
It's not Christmas. We're a little late with this episode. If you guys have just been waiting for it to come out, apologize for that.
It's been a long week, and we had some all-nighters. We couldn't stay up that late last night.
Yeah, had to let you down.
So sorry. It's hard to let people down. I hate
Had
doing that.
to smell the microphone.
Yeah, the microphone smelled pretty good today.
I wonder if that's it's showing up on the audio.
I smell everything. Microphone smell.
All right.
So yeah, sorry fans. We love you guys.
Here we
sorry
go.
for releasing this late, but we are here.
Yeah,
Ready.
and we're talking about Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Wow. We are getting through this already. Gosh. 1990 this was made.
Yeah, and
actually it was made in 1989 but released in 1990. So
yeah, we got to see young unknown Viggo Mortensen in it.
yeah. Unknown at the time, Viggo Mortensen.
And I think I liked it. He did an awesome job.
yeah. Tex.
I like
Call me
Viggo
Tex.
Mortensen anyways, like in Lord of the Rings and
yeah.
things he's done since then. But
Hidalgo.
yeah, Hidalgo.
That's
a good one.
It's kind of hard to say. Hidalgo.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think I cried in that one.
But he did good. He did good. What?
I think I cried after that movie because
No.
it's like a good feeling because the horse.
Does
didn't make
Hidalgo
it.
die?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I forgot. I've seen the movie, but I forgot.
Yeah.
I have old man brain, even though I'm only 30. I don't know. I think it's just because I watched so many fucking movies that the ones in the back of my brain just start dropping out. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
someone's
I
all like,
understand.
I usually always remember that I've seen the movie, but I just don't have any idea what the hell happened during it.
Yeah. I always remind you of movies. Like, I'm like, do you remember that? Like, I don't know if I've seen that. I'm like, we saw it together like last year. But he doesn't recall. So.
Or someone's always quoting movies, and I know I've seen it, and I'm like, but I don't really remember that part, so sorry.
It's like, dude, you don't remember that part? It's like the best part of the movie. But yeah, Viggo's back. Viggo's not back.
No,
Viggo's
he's not back.
Like, this is like
He's
one of
there.
his first. I guess this was 1989 into 90, so I guess he really wasn't prominent at that point yet.
No. And we can get into it. I guess he fucked up his audition coming in.
Yeah.
They said they didn't cast him. He messed up the audition. They cast some other guy, started shooting, and then didn't like the other guy. And then the other guy booked a commercial that paid a bunch or something. And so they called Viggo back and had him come back on set.
Come back on set, and he was excited. I got the movie.
Yeah,
But I
then
guess
would do anything,
Yeah.
Basically, they said they covered him for the original ending. They covered him in charred blood and everything, and
he was game for everything.
yeah.
He loved doing that.
really got into the character.
Really easy to work with. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
And we got Ken Foray.
yeah, back
He's
from
back.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. I love Ken Foray. He's awesome in this movie. I love him in Dawn of the Dead too. So
Yeah, and it was it the director or producer that wanted him because of Dawn of the Dead?
yeah,
I forgot who it was, but they wanted him specifically because they liked him in Dawn of the Dead.
I think it was the producer that liked him.
Yeah, thought he would have the perfect look for this movie.
and he did. He
Yeah,
had
he
a
did,
nice
and then
bald cut.
and then the audiences liked him because they did a screening of this movie before they released it, and they ended up rewriting the ending because the audiences loved Ken Foray so much that they didn't want him to die.
Yeah, and in the original ending, he dies. He gets his head sliced by the chainsaw that's in the little moat there, and then.
Yeah, so if you guys have seen, you can YouTube the original ending where, at the end it's sort of weird at the end, even of the ending that happens. That's now that I guess is the real ending now, but the chainsaw is just running by itself in the water, which is sort of weird. But
for like 10 minutes straight.
But in the original ending, it literally shows Leatherface chainsawing Ken Foray's head.
Yeah.
And then he's dead, obviously. But
Benny is his name in the movie. Benny.
Yeah, but they cut that part out, and then it just shows him sort of pushing his head toward the chainsaw that's running by itself in the water. And
it would have been dead by the time if it was a real.
But you don't really see what happens. You don't really see it dig into him, but it's implied. So then at the end, he pops back out and he's alive, and he leaves with the girl. So
and he has a little slice on his head, but nothing like serious. Like his head's sliced and he's like bleeding and agonizing pain. It's like a little Band-Aid he put there, and he's good to go.
Must have just nicked him. Chainsaw nicked his bald head there.
But then after that, in the original ending, he dies. Viggo Mortensen comes back in all charred.
Yeah.
The girl, which is Kate Hodge, who plays Michelle, gets the little spike trap and spikes him against the tree, and then Leatherface is behind her and grabs her, and then she smashes Leatherface with a rock to death. Yeah. And then it ends up morning. She's walking on the dirt road.
Yeah, and you sort of figure Leatherface died because she smashed his head with that rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so anyways.
So yeah, she's on the dirt road walking, and then the cop car passes by her. And then in the back of the cop car, you see the little girl that was in the house with her little skeleton doll. And the cop car waits for Michelle Kate Hodge to go in.
She knows the cop is in on it, and she just sort of laughs crazy.
She just laughs crazily.
Like crazy, yeah.
Almost like the end of the original when she's in the back of the truck laughing crazily. But that was a much better laugh. Or the original, for sure.
So they tried to go back towards the feel of the original on this one. Although I like the original, still is my favorite. Oh, yeah. I liked it better.
Music, the Leatherface mask, it's still my favorite.
It's a little hard to compare this one to the second one. They're just still two almost totally different movies, I guess, because of the whole circusy feel of the second one, the over-the-top everything of the second one. Mm-hmm. So they openly admitted they were trying to get a feel, go back to the first one with this one. And, they did. I mean, it's closer to the first one than the second one is. But I still don't... Still, Leatherface doesn't look as good as the first one. No, I don't think.
He's still kind of kooky. I mean, he kind of has a weird wiggle and stuff in this one. And he has, like, that mullet going on. And
almost like a mullet. But
almost like a mullet.
No, it's true. He just looked the best in the first one. He looked... I don't know. They nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was Gunnar Hansen, and I don't know, maybe he just was, he's the original, you know?
Yeah, so in this one, R.A. Mihailoff played Leatherface.
Junior Sawyer.
Yeah, and he was chosen because he was chosen by the director, I believe. I did not pay attention to who chose him, but I believe it was the director.
Yeah, which was Jeff Burr.
Because he had worked with him in like a student film. He knew him in a student film before that. Thought of him because he had the perfect build. He liked
big,
horror.
tall guy.
Yeah, was in love with horror films and thought he'd be perfect for it.
Which he was still a huge guy. I mean, he was definitely intimidating and big.
Yeah,
and,
he looked good for it.
I saw it look good still.
I just think that the mask itself, along with maybe. It just wasn't as good. The first one, Leatherface's hair is sort of like curly and messed up and not really, down and covering the mask at all.
Yeah.
And it just looks sort of silly. I don't know. I like that. This one, the hair sort of covers the sides of the mask and it was all right.
He almost looks like Mick Foley, like the wrestler Leatherface or whatever,
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I did like this one better than the second one.
Personal preference. I liked it a little better, but I could see how the second one has its own little following. It's sort of its own thing.
Yeah, it is. It's its own sequel. Yeah, it totally is.
I don't know. I'm going to shut the door because my dog's chewing on a bone.
Chewing all night last night, too. So, yeah, we got writer David Scow.
There we go.
David J. Scow that wrote it. This is his first feature film that he wrote and got put into production.
Wrote the screenplay for because he had been writing these scary stories, basically. I don't know if they were novels or short stories, but the producers liked his stories and thought he could bring the right feel to the film, and so wanted him to write the screenplay.
Yeah. The same guy, David, also did some writing for Nightmare on Elm Street series. He didn't write it. He wasn't the writer, but he helped with some writing through the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So he had that connection with New Line there too. So they really knew of him.
And we already talked about how Jeff Burr was the director. A couple things about him. They had some other directors in mind. Peter Jackson was one of them.
Yeah.
Which probably would have been good. He did Reanimator, and that movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love Reanimator. And, of course, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and of course, he did team up with New Line again to do Lord of the Rings. But Peter Jackson was one of them. I don't know how accurate, but it said, in some trivia sites that Tom Savini was wanted as a director as well.
Yeah.
So
Was offered the job,
but I don't know that Tom
obviously didn't
Savini's
do it.
done much known for directing work, honestly.
He has a very, very good visualization, I bet. But I don't know if he could direct.
Maybe pull
he
it
could
off.
Still, yeah.
But Jeff Burr, who directed it, ended up not getting along with the producers or investors or New Line because
New Line, yeah.
they were always pushing the envelope. They're always keeping on his ass about scheduling, not going over the budget. And towards the end, I think they were on like week 5 of 6 or something, and he was slated to go over schedule, and the studio just would not allow it. Yeah, they said, we're going to fire you if you go over schedule or over budget or anything like that. And then they did end up firing him. They fired him.
He said, it is what it is. This is how I'm doing it.
This is how we have to finish it. So they fired him, but then immediately rehired him like 3 days later or something.
Because no one else would take the job.
Yeah, or maybe they realized they were just being idiots. But yeah, then immediately rehired him and had him finish out the movie. So Jeff Burr talked about how it was just sort of a horrific experience. And at the interview we were watching of him was 14 years later from this film, and he said, looking back now, it was a positive experience. But if you would have asked him that 14 years ago, he said there's no way he would have considered it a positive experience.
Yeah. Gosh, he went through some hard, tough times. But look, he put himself out there. He said he would direct it. No one else would take the job, and overall, he did a good job. So. Yeah,
and you always hear the directors talk about. And he said this too, that's why I'm bringing it up, talk about how they're never really left alone to just do their own thing. He said that was his mistake. Going into this, he had a whole vision for it, and his mistake was assuming that he would just be able to make his movie the way he wanted to. And speaking of that, I mean, they cut the shit out of this movie.
They cut it big time.
I mean, we talk about that all the time.
I mean, every movie.
Throughout the entire Nightmare and Friday the 13th series, we were always talking about how they're cutting out everything from these movies. But this one seemed like just a super heavy cuts they made to this film.
They went to the MPAA and they had to go back to the New Line or the producers and all that like 10 to 12 times. It delayed their premiere. They were slated to premiere in November of 1989, and they released it January 12th of 1990. So it really screwed them over. And they had the rated X rating for that whole time, and then it finally got down to a rated R rating, which Nicotero, which did the special effects, said it really hindered it because he put so much work into these special effects, and they cut out a lot of the stuff that he put in there.
And it basically still doesn't say it yet, but it was K&B Effects, which is Nicotero, Howard Berger, and I can't believe I can't remember the other guy's name right now, but
K&B Effects.
Yeah. Berger, Nicotero, and Kurtzman.
That sounds right.
Kurtzman. So, yeah.
Kirschen? Just say
Nicotero and Kirsch. Oh, Samsonite. It's right there.
I was way off. It's right on the briefcase. Swanson, Sammy, Slappy.
Slippy, Slappy.
Name that movie. That'll be...
I was just going to refer and move on. No need...
All right, let's just keep on going. So I actually have... I added another point here. Speaking of the director, so the film trailer was done before they had a director and before production started. So they had all that done, the trailer, and the guy that portrayed Leatherface in the actual trailer was Kane Hodder, which we know as Jason Voorhees in the four Friday the 13th movies. Yeah. And he was also the stunt coordinator in this movie as well.
Yeah, stunt double and coordinator for Leatherface in the entire movie. I mean, because that's really that was his main gig.
His forte. Yeah.
He's a stunt guy. And they basically, as we talked about, that's what they used for Friday the 13th throughout, was basically all stunt guys to play Jason.
When he portrayed him, I could totally see Kane playing Leatherface now. I mean, even though he could do Jason and
similar
stuff,
build.
I could have seen him, throughout these series play Leatherface, Junior Sawyer, what his name is.
But yeah, so then if we're moving through some of these actors, William Butler, who
played Ryan.
Yeah, was basically the boyfriend, I guess. I don't know how they were.
Friend/boyfriend of Michelle.
She called him her friend, and they never were intimate or anything. So I'm guessing, just the friend. But his character was pretty annoying, I thought, to me at first.
He's kind of
sort of a whiny complaining
pansy.
Yeah, he had his bright white shoes on, and
those are like
shoes,
high top. I think those are Reeboks.
Reeboks, yeah,
high top Reeboks, because it gets caught in the trap there, and I saw blood all over them.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
That's true. But apparently, I should have looked up specifically which movies, but apparently he was killed by Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface in his early acting career.
So he was in all three movies.
Yeah, I guess I still could, but we look up specifically which Freddy and which Jason. But that's interesting. A lot of these people moved between films. I mean,
yeah. Well, and even the little girl.
Yeah.
Jennifer Banco, which played the little girl, was also in Friday the 13th.
Part 7. Yeah.
And it was around the same time era there,
yeah, because I think by that time New Line had taken over. I could be wrong, but had taken over Friday the 13th. I know they had it over by 8, but...
God, that little girl must be traumatized at that young of an age. She had to kiss Leatherface in this movie.
Yeah.
And then Friday the 13th, Part 7, she's probably stuck in the... If I'm picturing it right, I don't know if she was the girl that was stuck in the lake or something. Or trying to get killed.
She kills her dad.
Yeah.
Because she causes the dock to...
Yeah.
Collapse.
To collapse, yeah.
With her mind.
Was it.
That was a weird one where she is able to move shit with her mind.
Yeah, mind forces.
We talked about how
that's
when Carrie came out, and so they were like, let's work some of this Carrie stuff into Friday the 13th, and I don't know.
But I think that's the same girl.
It didn't work that great.
That did this one.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so I wanted to touch a little bit, because we were getting away from it, how they were trying to make this movie a little bit like the first one. Jeff Burr supposedly even wanted to film it in 16 millimeter, which is the first one was filmed in Texas. But this is the only one not filmed in Texas up to this point, because they had already built the set for the house in Los Angeles, and they wanted to keep the budget low, and everything was just right there and easy in Los Angeles. And they apparently they were right next to the Magic Mountain theme park,
Six Flags. Yeah.
So Jeff Burr swears you can hear screams from roller coasters in the background in one or two scenes
as we're shooting scenes. Hey, it works perfect for this film. You get screaming from everywhere when they're walking through those woods there. So that's where they did a lot of the all the outdoor forest scenes were shot in that area. So, and
it's just tough to replicate. You can't replicate the first one because. Yeah, you could try and use the same film, which didn't happen. But also, they built a house on set in L.A., whereas the original is just a down and dirty. They're on location. They're in 120-degree heat.
Yeah, they're just freaking...
It's an amateur actor and crew setup. it's just a whole different scenario.
Just the nitty gritty, and amateur crew set,
and that's what shows in the movie. It's a lot more gritty, a lot more.
That's what I love about it. It's just down and dirty and just straight to it.
And the same goes for. I always talk about it. The same goes for like Evil Dead. The original shoot of Evil Dead was a grueling, on location, shoot that was just.
Yeah, and that was shot in 1979 or 80, so it was
79, and so then Evil Dead 2 got a little bit less gritty, but a little bit of a different beast. But they built a set and everything, so it was less amateurish and therefore less gritty. So.
And you see this one as compared to how they kind of took some takes from the first one. They have the guy popping the photo and here, sign it, or $3, and then they have they still have Grandpa that's completely dead in this one.
Yeah,
I did not see him move a muscle.
Yeah, other than that, the family's basically all new.
Yeah, there's no father figure. Like
that's what David Scow was aiming for. He said he watched the first one again and thought to himself, what like elements can I take from this and then retell the story. And he thought that maybe it's the same Leatherface and tip of the cap. There's Grandpa there, even though he's dead.
Yeah,
but these are the new people he's teamed up with.
Yeah,
a whole new
set of family.
Yeah. Who would he find, and what kind of people would he hang out with? And that's what he came up with, were these characters.
Little girl, the two other brothers,
and the little girl was maybe supposed to be his daughter.
Yeah.
Even though it's not really said that way or anything, but could be inferred.
That's why he gives that kiss to her, and he was going more of Leatherface being like the dramatic teenager going in and listening to his music. He had the headphones on, and then he went and did practicing his words for pictures and stuff.
So the first one he's like a little child. This one he might be more like a rebellious teenager or something.
Because the first one you can see he's this child and this one he's more rebellious. But when he gets that the saw. Then he's Leatherface. That's his strength is a saw. Yeah. Which the saw is different. The saw was more of a they had that Jeff Burr really wanted that iconic saw, so they had like the biggest saw you can get. They say it's the Cadillac of saws. Yeah. That they made with like the gold plate and the nice silver finish. Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
And Rob, Shea was all behind.
Yeah,
or Bob Shea.
Bob Shea
was behind that and trying to get the exact right saw. And I guess it took him like 10, 11 times before Bob Shea was like, "That's the one I want." And a $3,000 saw or something, and
80 pounds.
Yeah, weighed 80 pounds.
And he had this guy, R.A. Mihailoff, had to swing that shit around. It's crazy.
Yeah. If you don't know Bob Shea, he's a New Line Cinema executive who we've talked about extensively in the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Yes.
So.
And he appears in some movies here and there.
Yeah, he likes to put his cameo everywhere he can. Yeah.
They actually did take one thing out of the second one and put it into this third one. They had the quote, the Saw's family. So that was one thing that David Scow liked that he kept with.
Yeah, and, etched it on the saw. I had it
etched it on the saw there. So, which then after that was in all the posters and all the promotions and stuff too. So,
and we were talking about the set earlier. Obviously, they mainly shot at night. They would have these long periods of time during the day to prepare, and they were shooting towards the end of the year, so it was the shortest nights. Yeah. And once it hit dark, they were just running and gunning, and it seemed like they couldn't get enough done. Yeah. But another thing was they experienced some forest fires right around that area, the Valencia area where they were shooting. And so they had to be really careful about what they lit up or where they were shooting. So I couldn't really tell watching the movie, but maybe if I rewatched it knowing this, they purposely didn't backlight some scenes, were real strict with the lighting because there's a lot of burnt forest around them that they didn't want to show.
They had limited forest area.
Yeah. So.
What? What the hell is that sound?
Jesus!
Oh my! Is it raining outside? It really
I
is.
just had a brain aneurysm.
Oh my god! I just
Holy
shit
shit!
myself.
It is raining outside. What does that have to do with the sound?
I just heard rain and
Well, that loud noise means it's time for the horror halftime. All right, this is where we just give you something cool to do, and then if you do it and we like it, we give you free shit.
God.
That's
Nothing
been
better.
I like that explanation. So, and you can become horror freak of the week. So for this week,
who wants to be horror freak of the week? I know.
since we just watched Leatherface, it's technically titled Leatherface.
Texas Chainsaw.
I want
3.
you guys to send us your pictures of if you have like a Leatherface mask, especially if it's homemade. That's even better.
Get creative here.
Like, hopefully you didn't really tear someone's face off and you're using it, but
Don't do that. Don't be Ed Gein.
If you homemade a Leatherface, we want to see it. So take a picture of the mask, whatever, preferably someone wearing it, and post it on our page on facebook.com/cultclassichorror, and post it on Instagram and tag us at cultclassichorror. And if we like yours the best, we'll send you some free stuff. All right, so do that.
Easy peasy.
And we'll get back to it here. So that concludes the horror halftime. Speaking of Leatherface, apparently Tobe Hooper originally, for the first film, came up with the idea of the actual like Leatherface, the mask, because he knew a medical student in school who actually wore a cadaver's face to a Halloween party.
And he said it was like the most horrific thing
and he thought it was
seen.
the most horrific thing, he'd ever heard of. And so he said, well, I'm going to do that in my movie.
Can you believe that? That's insane.
Obviously, we've mentioned this before. It's loosely based on Ed Gein, the killer from the 1950s, who wore people's skin,
and dug up bodies and kept them in his oven and all that shit. But
basement. But
this was cool that he actually got the actual visualizing of it over his friend's Halloween costume at a party.
I find that hard to believe still, but that's just crazy. I don't know. That's crazy. So, anyways.
Another interesting fact, this kind of just goes off. I just thought of it. But so a lot of shit happened during this. Obviously, we're talking about it was kind of a grueling shoot for Jeff Burr and stuff and the rest of the crew. But during the fight scene with Viggo Mortensen and Ken Foray. Ken Foray.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Moray.
Ken Foray, yeah.
Did I say Moray?
Yeah.
Moray. Ken Foray. So during the fight scene by the truck, Ken Foray flips Viggo over his shoulder and smacks him on the ground. Well, I guess after that happened, he broke his ribs accidentally. Yeah. So they had to cut, and obviously he had to recover. But yeah, that's one thing that can happen during a movie. You can get your ribs broken, and that's what happened. And if you notice during the movie, they actually use that actual shot, so he winces a little bit after that happens.
Yeah, it's real quick, but
which is funny. Viggo swings the axe at him, and then Ken Foray just grabs it out of his hands.
Yeah, right away.
It's like, oh, thanks for the axe. I just noticed that, and obviously he gets burnt up and charred by that Zippo that the crazy girl gives Foray.
Yep. You guys watching on YouTube can see Scotty's wearing a fake cop uniform.
Yeah, I'm actually in uniform right now. I just got done with a little audition.
Yeah,
for a police
sergeant, and came straight here and is now wearing a fake police sergeant uniform.
My nice navy blue
Good thing our
slacks.
parents have a costume shop that we can just use whenever we want.
Thanks, Mom, for pulling this for me. You're the best.
Yeah,
I'm in character right now. I'm a policeman doing a podcast.
I actually did the same audition, but I changed clothes. So
bastard. I don't have an extra set of clothes here because we were at his house.
I have my own blue pants even from when I was at EMT fire. Some of you probably didn't know this. I used to be a firefighter / EMT.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like it anymore because I just wanted to save lives, and all I saw was old people naked.
That's not good. Old people that fell down the stairs, and the same lady calls you back for the third time just because she wants to see. She wants you to see her naked.
Old people naked. Yeah, I remember we went on this call and we were riding the elevator up to this apartment complex, and I was early on, and the guys were like, "This lady calls all the time, and she's always naked, so she's gonna be naked."
Just prepare
and she
yourself.
just wants to see us. And then
She wants to get off on you guys.
Sure enough, I went in and there's this like 80-year-old naked lady just sitting on the edge of her bed.
Oh my God.
She's just like, I feel a little pain in my chest. We're like, Jesus.
And she's just sitting there, like, looking fine.
Yeah, just sitting there.
Oh, my God.
Just droopy ass boobs.
Oh, just naked as...
Yeah. I have to tell...
That's her dream. She has, like, dream... That's how she gets off. She gets these big, burly firemen coming in, and that's, like, her enjoyment for the week.
The funniest one ever, we went to this, like, farmhouse. Got a call in the middle of the night. This is farmhouse. And it took us like, I mean, you know, you call 911 and it probably took us 10 minutes to get there or something. And so we get there and the guy answers, it's like cold outside. And the guy answers the door totally naked, like butt naked. And I'm like, and there's nothing wrong with him. He must sleep naked and his wife had chest pain and he answers the door naked. Like you would think in the 10 minutes that it took us to get there, he could just thrown some boxers on.
Yeah.
But no, he like answered the door. If I remember right, he's like hairy. He has like long hair, and then he had this like huge cock bush with like couldn't see, I don't know if it was because
like
it's cold
stub.
out. I don't know if it's cold because it's cold out, but couldn't see like anything coming out except for like maybe just a tiny little smoky sausage, you know.
Like one of those little smokies.
And
that you buy in the
he's
pack.
running around freaking out. He answers,
Oh my
like, she's
God.
in here. She's in here. I just had to pause for a second and try not to laugh my ass off because this naked ass, like, Bob Ross looking guy with his smoky barely sticking out of his cock bush.
Why the hell was he naked?
What in the hell is going on here?
Why is he not wearing clothes?
And then you go in, obviously his wife's naked too, and everyone's just if you're in the medical emergency field, it's just full of naked old people. So just be aware.
Be aware of that, guys.
I've seen an old guy with a diaper and poop in it, with his pee-pee hanging out of the side of the diaper.
That does not sound fun to me.
That was no good.
I'd rather be here talking about awesome movies than doing that. God.
Alrighty. Well, anyways, just had to share.
That's a good.
Had to share.
That's a good fun facts there, and to
Yes.
visualize that. Hey, we saw it. You could have helped put out the Valencia fire here if you were.
That's true.
If you were there, but you weren't. So.
Oh, Steve just joined us.
Steve is our friend, Danny's dog.
Yeah, we talked about Steve a couple episodes ago.
Hey, Steve.
And
Steve actually got a fire rocket of his own that pops up from
Steve
time to
has
time.
Steve has Red Rocket a lot.
Steve's got some. He's got a pretty big junk down there.
As a bonus to the horror halftime, you guys can submit all your different names for dog boners too.
Yeah, Red Rocket, Lipstick.
Yeah, whatever you got, lay it on us because we need more names because we just call it Red Rocket and Lipstick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to come up with something
Red
more
Rocket
original
Lipstick.
and post it on our Facebook page.
Please do it. We love that kind of shit.
No actual pictures of dog boners, please.
Yeah, we don't want to see the pictures. We just want to hear the names.
Yeah, we just want the names. Okay, so let's hear the names. All right. I think we were talking about a movie earlier.
Yeah. Speaking of, there's actually a dead dog that gets thrown on a car in this movie.
Yeah, like coyote / dog.
Yeah.
And apparently that coyote and also the armadillo they run over both have the same earring in.
Yeah.
That I forgot the character's name, but the guy who's driving the truck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Joe Unger.
Yeah, he has earrings on, and both animals apparently have the same earring in.
Yeah, it's that big like silver pendant earring that the Joe's wearing.
So that's interesting.
And Armadillo was also killed in the first one too, so it's kind of reminiscent to that as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. So we already talked about how they had multiple endings for this. Had to change it because people like Ken Foray too much, and we already talked about how they cut the shit out of this film because it had to get an R rating. You know, number 2 they released unrated, and the MPAA was all pissed in the ratings. They were all pissed about that, and so Texas Chainsaw was sort of on their shit list. So when Leatherface came out, I think they were being super extra assholes to him.
Yeah,
and
they were not letting him get away with anything.
Wanting him to cut all this stuff.
Which it would have been a lot more gruesome. And I think there's an unrated version, but it would have been, the original would have been more gruesome and bloody, you know.
And Jeff Burr, the director, just, obviously was appalled because of all the awesome stuff they did and had to cut out. But they were saying how, you know, this will instantly get banned in all foreign markets if you don't cut it down. And so they were all worried about having it get an R rating so it wouldn't get banned. It would get a full wide release, even foreignly as well. When really the first two were banned, foreign were banned.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why they're making such a fuss out of it, but it just sort of sucks.
It does suck because for fans like us, you want to see that brutalness to it. And, and with the fingers getting shot off, or when the girl that's crazy runs through the woods for that first week.
That was another one. Yeah, a couple of the main ones they cut out. Yeah, that sort of random girl that they see in the woods who
that saves Ken Foray.
Yeah, and then almost right away gets killed. Who has been running from Leatherface apparently before they meet him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had this cool scene where she's like pinned up against the tree, and Leatherface basically splits her down the middle with a chainsaw.
Yeah, and blood all over the place, and they had to literally cut that whole scene down and just cut away the camera.
They cut that out. They cut the one out where the chainsaw's on Ken Foray's head. We talked about.
And then when Ken Foray is shooting up the house, they cut like the fingers getting shot off.
Yeah, and, the guy with the earring has his hand out and he's saying, like, "Get down, mama," or something like that. When no, mama, because she gets shot first.
Yep.
And when his hand's out, you see two of the fingers get shot off.
Yeah.
But you don't actually because they cut it out. So.
But we did see his ear get shot off.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
You saw the ear get shot off, but they couldn't show the fingers getting shot off. And then they also couldn't show the sledgehammer smashing
Ryan.
Ryan, the character of Ryan in the face.
Yeah, which the sledgehammer was on like a little pulley, which the girl pulled and it went down. It went down on his head, and they couldn't show that either. So there was a lot that was cut out of this, which kind of sucks. But, but I actually looked at the second ending for it, and the second ending, she walks and finally, Kate Hodge, which plays Michelle, she walks and finds a cop station, and the cop comes and helps her. This would have been the worst one. Helps her, and he has a chainsaw underneath his desk, and comes out with the chainsaw and runs after her, and then
what?
So obviously that gives you the intention that the whole town's in on the Sawyer family.
That's fucking ridiculous. I actually didn't see that one.
So I read up on that second one. I'm like, oh, that would have been the worst one. So.
Yeah. Jeez.
So a lot of different ways this one could have ended, but I like the way it ended. I mean, he was kind of when he pulls up Ken Foray at the very end. I'm like, wait, is this a joke? What is this a dream? What's going on?
Yeah.
'Cause he's like all happy. Hey, come on!
It's almost like, hey, wait up.
I thought he was like in on it for a second. I'm like, wait. But then obviously the crazy guy comes in, Alfredo, and she shoots him and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this didn't do too well in box office.
So the whole reason New Line picked this film up is because they were ending the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and they wanted another basically money banking series of sequels after sequel after sequel to bring up and do. But after it basically tanked the box office for Leatherface, this one, they just let the rights expire and never did anything else with it. So.
Yeah, this only did so in U.S. domestically did 5.7 million, and it was rated 11th on the top Billboard
opening
movie list.
weekend. Yeah, it was 11th, which was heartbreaking for Jeff Burr. He thought at least top 10.
Yeah,
maybe even third, but to be down at 11.
Even the second one was like top 10. Yeah, and of course the first one was like top 5.
Yeah,
or I think it was number 1.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But,
tell you the truth, even though I don't know if I looked that stat up actually.
14 years this was made.
Did we get a budget on this one? I don't know.
I didn't find a budget. I know it did 5.7 million in box office, but I did not see a budget for it. Yeah, I looked for it, but I couldn't find it.
I didn't even look for it. So if you couldn't find it, I believe you.
Yes, we believe you. Mark it. Post it in our Facebook. Let us know what the budget was, you guys. That's another task for you to do for us.
But so yeah, that pretty much wraps that up. It was good stuff. I love Viggo Mortensen in it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
I guess great. I never really realized he was in this movie until I went back and rewatched it. So
kind of missed Jim Siedow, the old father.
Yeah, it didn't have the feel of having some of those same characters.
Yeah.
It was a shame.
Of course, they kind of mimicked. The guy that played the older brother, Joe Unger, he had that hook arm that kind of had he was scratching his head with it and stuff too. Kind of resembled the guy in the second one, of course, and the first one, I guess too.
Yeah,
but yeah. Overall, it was entertaining, and it's a classic, So we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
After this.
Well, cool. Well, that wraps up Leatherface. Oh, I should mention though. Speaking of Leatherface, they are having a new one. They're releasing a new one this year called Leatherface.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already, but if you don't, it's in post-production right now. They don't have a release date yet, I don't think. But
it'll be later on this year.
But it's
2016.
it's a prequel to the original, and it's basically follows Leatherface as a teenager and his first sort of veering into the
craziness,
the craziness
chaos,
or whatever, kidnapping a girl,
encounters,
and taking her. I don't know. So it looks pretty good. Stephen Dorff,
Stephen Dorff's in there.
Is in it, and I don't know what else, but
that's the main name that I saw. So.
Yeah, so we'll be excited to check that out.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll be back on time next week.
Next week at the same time, same place.
Everyone who's listening to this live, well, not live, but after its release, it's a 4th of July weekend, so have some fun.
Yeah.
Just light some shit on fire.
Yep. Barbecue, light some shit on fire, watch some fireworks.
Yeah.
Guys, have a good Independence Day.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.